Hey everybody, and welcome back to Sip and Talk. I'm Joe.
I'm Sunny.
So Sunny, before we jump into all the craziness this week, what's been the highlight of your week?
For me, it was definitely this new boba tea place that opened up.
Whoa.
I got this lavender honeydew with cheese foam.
Oh my gosh.
It was adventurous.
Adventurous is right. Speaking of adventures, I had a crazy thing happen at the grocery store the other day.
Oh my God, tell me.
So I'm standing in line, and this guy...
Okay, all right, we got to save that one.
Okay.
We got to save that one for later because we've got a deep dive to do today.
Yeah.
And this one's kind of juicy. It's about this movie, Neza 2.
Neza 2.
We got a ton of comments about it.
I know, right?
And a lot of them were pretty wild.
Oh, yeah.
One of them said, wow, I can't believe they're showing this in China.
Seriously?
Yeah. So, of course, we had to look into it.
Right.
So,
what did you find?
Well, we got articles, reviews, even a YouTube video breaking it all down.
You went all in.
We went all in. So buckle up, guys, because this is not your typical animated movie.
From what I gathered, so this is a sequel to a movie from a few years back, 2019, called Neza, which, and just to give you some context here, that movie made almost $750 million worldwide.
Really? So is all of that in China?
Pretty much, yeah, mostly in China. And so to understand why this Neza is such a big deal, we got to talk about Chinese mythology a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because Neza is a legendary figure known for being a rebel.
Oh, really?
Fighting fate, challenging authority,
Oh.
not your typical hero.
So this new movie, Neza 2, is kind of following in those footsteps.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
And I read that it's projected to make something insane, like over $8 billion in China alone.
Yeah.
And over $1 billion globally.
What's a crazy number?
I know. That's a lot of tickets.
That's a lot of popcorn.
It's a lot of popcorn. Makes you wonder what's going on. Yeah. What is it about this movie?
Okay, so this is where things get interesting.
Oh, boy.
There are folks online that are saying that this movie is basically anti-American propaganda disguised as a superhero movie.
Okay, so given everything going on in the world right now, the tension between the U.S. and China,
right,
I can see why some people might jump to that conclusion.
Yeah, for sure. But what really surprised me was this other deeper take that some people had, where they think that it's actually about rebelling against any authority.
Whoa.
Possibly even the Chinese government itself.
Seriously?
Yeah, like this animated movie might be low-key promoting rebelling against the system.
Wow.
You wonder if the censors were, asleep at the wheel or something.
Well, what I read is that it blurs the line between good and evil.
Oh, really?
So you have these heroes, but they're flawed. Okay. And then you have villains, but they also have their own reasons. So it makes you think twice about who to root for.
Right. It's not black and white.
Yeah, not at all.
And there's this one quote that I saw in this YouTube video, and it was like, chills, gave me chills.
What was it?
I decide my fate, not heaven.
Wow.
Right.
That's powerful.
I know.
It really captures the whole vibe of the movie, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not bound by what other people tell you. You get to make your own choices.
It's so powerful. Like the movie's saying, hey, you don't have to follow the rules if you don't believe in them.
Exactly.
And you can see how that would appeal to young people in China who are maybe starting to question things.
Question the way things are.
And in that same YouTube video, this guy was talking about how he talked to his 5-year-old kid who saw the movie.
Okay.
And the kid was like, this movie is about rebelling against any authority.
What? A 5-year-old got that?
Yeah. And then the kid even brought up the Monkey King.
Oh, wow.
He was like another famous Chinese rebel.
So even a 5-year-old is picking up on these themes.
It's crazy, right? But it gets even wilder because this YouTuber then went on to compare Neza 2 to some pretty heavy stuff in Chinese history.
Like what?
Stuff like the Siege of Changchun.
The Siege of Changchun? What's that?
It was this brutal siege during the Chinese Civil War.
Oh, wow.
And the YouTuber's point was that Neza 2, with all this moral gray area, might encourage viewers to question the official narrative they've been told.
So it's like making people think about what they're being told.
Think critically and question things.
About history and about everything going on.
I know. I thought I was just getting into, a fun action movie.
Me too.
But no, this is way deeper.
Yeah, it makes you think, doesn't it?
It really makes you think.
Yeah.
Like how much of what we see on screen even if it's a cartoon, shapes how we view the world.
Yeah.
And if a 5-year-old's walking away with these ideas about rebellion, just imagine the impact this is having on adults.
Totally. But we should probably just mention we're not experts here. We're just two people having a conversation.
We're just fascinated by this stuff.
Trying to make sense of it.
So yeah, I mean, it seems like Neza 2 is more than just a kid's movie.
Oh, for sure.
It's making people think.
Yeah, and the fact that it's doing so well in China, where, you know, you don't really have the same freedom of speech as other places, it makes it even more interesting.
You know what? That's a good point. So I guess we should talk about that China angle.
Yeah.
Because the first Neza movie, almost all his money was made in China. Like, what's going on there?
Well, China's got a huge market for film.
Yeah.
And they've been coming out with some awesome movies lately.
That's true.
And plus, there's this sense of national pride, you know?
Yeah.
About supporting their own films.
Supporting their own films.
So it makes sense that a movie like Neza, based on Chinese mythology, would be a hit over there.
But do you think that it's going to be like a global thing, like those Marvel movies? Like, could it go global?
I guess we'll have to wait and see. It would be interesting to see how it's received outside of China. A movie so rooted in Chinese culture and mythology.
It is interesting to think about how that would play out.
Yeah.
Do you think it would resonate?
It's almost like a social experiment to see how it goes.
Okay, so remember how we were talking about that anti-American thing?
Yeah.
Some people are really convinced that there's this agenda.
Yeah, with everything going on between the U.S. and China.
Right.
It's easy to kind of fall into that us versus them kind of thinking.
Totally, but here's what I'm thinking. Like, even if there are those subtle jabs, does that completely invalidate the message about individual freedom and rebellion? Like, can those two things coexist?
That's a good question. Like, a movie can have multiple layers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It can be about both of those things at the same time.
I think what I'm realizing is that this movie's kind of like a Rorschach test. You know how you see it kind of says more about you.
It's like the movie is holding up a mirror to society.
Deep.
Right.
Deep, I like that.
It's making us think.
You know what else makes me think?
What?
Whiskey.
Oh, nice transition.
You know who else loves whiskey?
Who?
Our friend Micky.
Oh, yeah. Micky from Mickytolife.
Yeah, his YouTube channel.
Yeah, I love that channel.
He's got great travel vlogs, whiskey reviews.
He's always going to the coolest places.
Right. The coolest places. And the unboxing videos.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see the one where he unboxed the $10,000 bottle of whiskey?
Oh, yeah, that was crazy.
It was crazy. So if you guys haven't checked out his channel yet, do yourself a favor.
Do it.
Subscribe to Mickytolife.
It's awesome.
Okay, so now that we've plugged our friend's channel, let's get back to Neza 2.
Okay.
So remember how we were talking about how the first movie made 98% of its money in China?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's pretty wild, right?
It is.
What do you think that says about, the influence of Chinese films?
It shows how much they're growing.
Right.
Their film industry is huge.
Yeah, and could this be a sign of things to come? Like, could we see more Chinese movies breaking into the international market and, challenging Hollywood?
I think it's possible, for sure.
Yeah.
They're making some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Visually stunning and thought-provoking, too.
And with a movie like Neza 2 that has these, themes that are pretty universal, like rebellion, defying fate, they might just have another global hit on their hands.
It is exciting to see how global cinema is evolving.
But I guess we still need to figure out what's really going on with this movie.
Right.
Is it pro-China, anti-America, pro-rebellion?
Maybe.
Is it just a fun action flick?
Maybe it's all of the above.
Ooh.
Or maybe it's up to each viewer to decide what they take away from it.
That's the beauty of art, right?
Absolutely.
It can mean different things to different people. So tell us what you guys think. Have you seen Neza 2? What are your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, hit us up on social media.
Yeah, let's keep this conversation going.
Let us know.
Yeah.
It's funny, we were just talking about Micky and all his crazy adventures.
Yeah.
It kind of makes you think about how travel can, open your mind to all these different perspectives.
Oh, totally. Like, when you see how other people live, other cultures,
yeah,
it makes you question your own assumptions about things.
For sure. It's like that saying, travel is the only thing you buy that makes you richer.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I might steal that one.
Go for it.
But speaking of stealing, didn't somebody try to steal Neza's powers in the first movie?
You know what? You might be right.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm getting my Chinese mythology all mixed up.
Yeah, I'll admit I don't know that much about it either.
Yeah, me neither.
Before this deep dive, all I knew was like, he was some rebellious kid with fire powers. That was it.
That was pretty much me too.
Okay.
But what I'm learning is that he's actually a pretty complex character.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like he's got this rebellious side, but he's also fighting for what he believes in.
Okay.
It's almost like he represents that struggle that we all have between conforming and following the rules and, you know, blazing your own trail.
Right. And maybe that's why he resonates so much with people.
Maybe.
Especially people who are kind of feeling stuck.
Yeah, and feeling like they don't have a voice.
Yeah.
Like they have to follow these rules they don't believe in.
Exactly. It's almost like Nez is giving people permission.
Yeah.
To be like, forget that. I'm doing things my way.
Totally.
Okay, but back to the whole anti-authority message. How much of that do you think was intentional? Like on the part of the filmmakers?
Oh, man. That is the question, isn't it?
Right.
It's tough to say for sure.
Yeah.
Especially given the political climate in China.
Yeah, because it's not like they can just come out and say, hey, this movie's about overthrowing the government.
Exactly. But even if they didn't intend for it to be this message, it seems like it's sparking those kinds of conversations anyway.
Right. It's like they might not have set out to make this political statement, but the movie kind of took on a life of its own.
Totally.
And it's making people think about these things.
Exactly.
Like power and authority and freedom.
That's the power of art, right?
It is.
Like you can have all these unintended consequences.
Yeah, it's like planting a seed. You don't know what kind of tree is going to grow.
Right.
But you've created that potential.
You've given it that chance.
Yeah.
You know what? This is really making me want to see the movie.
Me too.
I have to see it now.
Yeah.
Like, even if it wasn't for all this deep stuff.
Yeah.
The action just looks incredible.
Yeah. The animation looks awesome.
Right.
From the trailers, it's like a visual feast.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Hey, maybe we should watch it.
Yeah.
And then we could do another deep dive.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah. And share our thoughts.
I'm down for that.
Okay, deal. But before we wrap this up, we should probably address the elephant in the room.
Uh-oh, what's that?
Like all this talk about rebellion and questioning authority.
Right.
And, you know, even challenging the Chinese government.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a touchy subject.
It's a bit sensitive.
Yeah. We got to be mindful.
For sure.
That we're talking about, you know, a country with a very different political system than our own.
Exactly.
And we don't want to make any assumptions. Our goal is just to explore these ideas.
Right.
And encourage people.
To think for themselves.
To think critically.
Yeah.
And, you know, to see how art, even just a cartoon, can spark conversations.
About important things.
About important things. And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe these conversations will lead to change.
There you go. That's a hopeful thought.
It is.
And you know what else is hopeful?
What?
A nice glass of whiskey.
Oh. All right, so back to our deep dive.
Back to the deep dive.
Do you think that a movie like this could actually influence people to, like, rebel or challenge authority?
That's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
I mean, it's hard to say for sure, but I think it's definitely possible.
Right?
Art has the power to inspire people, to make them question things. And when it connects with people on a deeper level, it can create this ripple effect.
That's true.
That goes beyond the screen.
It's like that butterfly effect, right?
Exactly. One little thing can change everything.
So I don't think it's going to, you know, single-handedly start a revolution in China.
Right.
But it might add to that feeling.
That feeling of unrest.
Yeah, that maybe things need to change.
Exactly.
And that's worth talking about, you know.
Yeah. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
You know, how this movie is seen in the long run.
Yeah.
What kind of impact it has.
What's really fascinating to me is that we're talking about a cartoon about a mythical god.
I know.
And yet it's sparking all this discussion.
About all these real world issues.
Yeah, about rebellion, authority, freedom.
I know.
It's crazy.
It shows the power of stories.
It really does.
Yeah.
It shows how they can go beyond culture.
Yeah.
And connect with something deeper.
Something human.
I love that. So we're not just talking about a movie here.
Right.
We're talking about what it means to be human.
Exactly.
Deep. So what do you think, dear listeners?
Yeah. Have you seen the movie?
Have you seen Neza too? What are your thoughts?
Do you agree with any of this?
Yeah. Hit us up on social media.
We want to hear from you.
And even if you haven't seen it, what do you think about this whole idea? Like, can art, can a movie or a song really make a difference in the world?
Oh, that's a big question.
It is a big question.
People have been debating that forever.
Yeah.
But I think it all comes down to how art makes you feel.
Yeah.
Right? If it moves you, if it makes you think differently about things,
yeah.
if it inspires you, then I think, yeah, it can make a difference.
Totally. Like, think about all the books and movies and songs that have
right.
started movements,
yeah.
changed the course of history.
Totally.
So,
yeah.
bringing it back to Neza 2, do you think it has that potential? Even if it's just on a small scale?
I think it does, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's already gotten people talking about rebellion and freedom and all that.
Yeah, who knows where those conversations might lead.
That's true.
Question things a bit more.
Yeah.
Stand up for what they believe in.
Yeah.
Be a little more rebellious.
Maybe we'll see a bunch of people walking around with fire-tipped spears.
That would be something. All right. Before we get too carried away.
Okay.
Let's wrap this up.
Sounds good.
What are your final thoughts for our listeners today?
Ooh, final thoughts. Let me see. What if the real takeaway here isn't about, like, taking sides or figuring out the political message? It's about that I decide my fate attitude.
Oh, I love that.
Like, no matter what you think about the U.S. and China or rebellion or whatever, it's about thinking for yourself, questioning things, and taking control of your own life.
Yeah, that's so well said. So, deep divers.
Yeah, deep divers.
Go out there, watch the movie if you haven't already, but most importantly, keep those conversations going.
Yeah.
Challenge your own assumptions.
Listen to each other.
Yeah, listen to each other.
Yeah.
Maybe we can create a world where everyone feels like they can decide their own fate.
That's a great goal.
Right.
I like that.
All right, until next time.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.
And keep those minds open.
See you later, deep divers.